We've just received more video of Hastert arriving at the courthouse in Chicago today. Take a look at this. You see him there, the car arriving at the courthouse. You'll see Dennis Hastert get out. There he is. Walk into the court. These proceedings are going to be taking place fairly soon. Obviously, a lot of media there, photographers jostling to ask him some questions and get through not a pleasant experience, clearly, for the former Speaker of the House of Representatives as he makes his way slowly inside that building for this court appearance.
And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. The longest-serving Republican Speaker of the House in American history, Denny Hastert, once stood among the most powerful political players in the nation. Today, his reputation and his legacy are in tatters as we learn that he will plead guilty to federal charges of illegally structuring bank withdrawals and lying to federal officials. However, it's what lies behind the actual charges that have brought the great shame to the once highly respected legislator. It is reported that Hastert's bank violations involved illegally withdrawing some $1.8 million to pay off a victim of sexual crimes allegedly committed by Hastert when he was a high school wrestling coach and teacher in Yorkville, Illinois. Had Speaker Hastert gone to trial on the charges, the more sordid details of the allegations would likely have become public. Now, as a result of his entering into a plea agreement with the prosecution, the public will likely never know the facts that lay behind the charges. So does the fact that Hastert ran for office during his career as a family values guy make this sad situation even more egregious, Carl Higbee?
Yeah. This is political beltway BS. I mean, that's what this is, and this is what people are tired of. And not to go beat a dead horse here, but that's why people like Carson and Carly and Trump are surging the polls, because they're not politicians like this guy.
Well, are you saying that they're not representing family values as well? I mean, aside from Trump, who...
No, this is politics as usual. I mean, look, politicians on both sides of the aisle are just consistently getting wrapped up in scandal after scandal after scandal.
So if Ben Carson today, just hypothetical, if Ben Carson or even Carly Fiorina today, if you found out, this is hypothetical, like Carly Fiorina had an abortion after making those comments, would that not be politics as usual?
I think it would be poor decision making. I think it would probably be very poorly received. But this is, I mean, this is typical.
But to be fair, you can't make up something like that and say, would it be that? Because there's no evidence or reason at all to suspect.
But we're not in a court of law. Essentially what I'm saying is, once you're in the political arena and you start to make bold declarations about values, it's, almost always these values-based politicians have some piece of dirt that comes out eventually, and a lot of them pay it off over the years.
That's a big piece of dirt. That's
that's a big piece of dirt. That's a bad one.
Yeah.
That's a bad one. But that's what happens when you make these bold declarations instead of just being honest about who you are or being a good, wholesome person. And thank goodness the Republican Party has shifted on LGBT issues and a lot of the things that people held behind the scenes because they wanted to run as a Republican financially.
To be fair here, I mean, we are condemning all politicians. Now, there was a period of time back actually in the late 90s where this was happening a lot. It started with Jim Wright, who was the Democratic Speaker of the House. He had to step down.
Livingston.
That came later.
Yeah.
He stepped down because he was saying that he was selling books. What he was really doing was getting money for giving speeches he wasn't supposed to be giving. Then you have Newt, who didn't have to step down, but he was not censored but sanctioned by the Ethics Committee for violations that he committed. Then you had Livingston, who was supposed to take Newt's place as Speaker. He had to back out and give up his seat because he got caught having an affair, another family values guy. It goes on and on and on. And that leads me to this question. I'll give it to you, Joe.
Sure.
Did the court do us any favors in Hastert's case by agreeing to a plea bargain? By having the plea bargain, yes, he'll plead guilty, which would imply that he was guilty.
Right.
But we will never really know what happened here. Had it gone to trial, and I'm not saying that I want salacious details, that's what I'm looking for, but I kind of like to know what this man was really all about. He was a major part of American history.
But it also protects the victim.
Yeah.
It does.
Exactly.
But the victim I'm not that sensitive to because he was holding the guy up for $3 million.
True.
Of which he got one.
It was the only leverage that Hastert had left, that, okay, at least I'm not going to let the deep, Sandusky-like kind of details, Jerry Sandusky details come out here. Plus, he used hush money. When you use hush money, you keep everything hush.
But doesn't the American public have a right to know this?
They
And the
have-
only reason we're not going to find out what our Speaker of the House, for the longest period of time in American history, or Republican Speaker, we're never going to know who he was now. We know there's a lot more to him, but we're never going to know who
Is
he
he,
is.
Rick,
is he also
we know
hiding?
enough.
Is he also
Yeah.
hiding additional victims, though?
Right.
Could that be?
That's a bigger
Where, in his
question.
basement? What do you mean?
Is this the
No. Yes, under the floorboard.
Yeah.
No. Are there more victims in this case that he just doesn't want to have it be public so they don't start coming out?
Yeah, I think we have the general, we have the broad sketches here at
Well,
this point.
we think we have the
know
broad
enough.
sketches. We don't know what's true and what isn't, but I take your point. You know, it's a very sad story. What do you think about Denny Hastert's decision to plead guilty to illegally structuring bank withdrawals and lying to federal officials? Go to newsmaxtv.com/comments. Let us know what you think. Coming up next, time to read some of your viewer comments. Stay with us.